Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. If you are an author and would like me to read your stories online, just shoot me a message on Reddit giving me permission to your stories, and I'll add you to the list of authors that have given me approval. Just note that the Agro squirrels is spelled incorrectly, the E and the I are swapped around, and you should be cool. Anyways, on to today's story. Why Humans Banned Aliens from Eating Substance C, written by FarmWitch4275. Video plays Dr. Clement Ford, New Eden Alien Rehabilitation Center. Dr. Clement Ford recording now. We have received another patient from the Australian Empire, a military man this time, approximate age is around 80 or so, young for his kind, see attached. Video cuts to a show of an Australian, similar to the kind of vampire elf biped, wearing a heavy straitjacket. He is bent over and appears to be worshipping a particular linoleum tile in his cell. Name is Canteris Khan, equivalent rank of Staff Sergeant. Suffered a severe allergic reaction resulting in addiction to the substance C, type S. Cause of intoxication and subsequent addiction is due to improper curing of substance C before consumption. Subject has begun to worship the linoleum tiles in his cell in response to the fevered delirium due to the withdrawal. Video shows a clip of a soldier being restrained by several human officers. Soldier, in a fevered delirium, uses his teeth to rip a piece of tiling off the wall and begins shuffling about his cell. After chewing pieces of bedding away, he uses them to construct a makeshift shrine to the debris. Prospect for rehabilitation is nominal. The road to recovery will be long and arduous. However, it is very likely that he will make a full recovery in due time. End log 1. Video 7, Dr. Clement Ford, New Eden Alien Rehabilitation Center. Dr. Clement Ford reporting, the addiction rates to unsanitized variants of substance C are becoming absurd to say the least. We've received 3 new patients in the last week thus far. Patient 1 is a Turian, patient 2 is an Olivarchus. Both cases are extremely unusual, in that normally they shouldn't be susceptible to effects of substance C. Video cuts and shows the sight of a Taurian, a humanoid centaur-like being with a head resembling a boar. He is babbling to himself, speaking incoherently in tongues and demon speak with grunts and whistles as he stares up the ceiling. The camera cuts to the next patient, an Olivarchus, a giant spider resembling a certain species of wolf spider the size of a cow. This one is wandering in a mindless circles on the ceiling, constantly circling the room light. His mandibles are making abnormal clicking and slurping sounds as he goes. Again, the intoxications are noted to be unsanitized consumption of substance C. In the case of the Taurian, an overdose of type C caused by an impromptu eating contest. In the case of the Olivarchus, however, the cause of intoxication is due to accidental consumption of type L. Apparently, he had been stealing his co-workers' lunches and got his comeuppance. Video shows a trial of exposure to substance C as part of treatment. Taurian is given a small sample of substance C and responds by screaming wildly and attempting to attack the attendant. He is stopped dead in his tracks by a security officer carrying a cattle prod. He is denied access to substance C and resumes babbling uncontrollably in his cell. Video cuts to Olivarchus' cell. Presented with substance C, it is distinctive scent. He moves close to the plate containing it, then stares at it for hours on end, seemingly huffing the fumes. When substance C is removed from his cell, he has to be restrained by security personnel with judicious force to prevent him from harming staff. The Olivarchus can easily process withdrawal with some medication to shut down neuron activity for a time and quit cold turkey. He will be out of here in a few days. The Taurian, however, is a different story. All staff attendants have to be male only due to the Taurian response to human females. You know the ones I'm talking about, and the subject has to be restrained by the minimum of 7 security personnel. End of log. Video 3, Dr. Clement Ford, New Eden Alien Rehabilitation Center. Dr. Clement Ford, log 3. This one is, serious, very serious. There is some kind of No, I shall not devolve into that petty speculation this early. Back to work. Video cuts to a cell of a Laurentis, a large bulbous jellyfish-like creature. Her purple coloration denotes a female. She is emitting strange vibrations as she wanders around her cell, occasionally squealing some kind of incantation or ritual. She is unable to stop her inking, and her room has to be periodically cleaned. This is an odd one. She seems to be a part of some cult that worships Substance C. She rejects all forms of sustenance that are not made of Substance C, or at the very least taste or smell like it. Favorite flavor seems to be the Type G from France. No need for heavy security with this one, just around-the-clock cleanup crew. Video cuts again and shows a procedure for cleaning. The Laurentis approaches, then begins to preach her religious beliefs, offering Substance C to the cleaning crew. Cleaning crew are required to refuse, clean, and leave. Laurentis resumes her behavioral pattern when alone. Subject ceases to display the form of fanaticism that completely goes against her species' very nature. Laurentis are usually mildly annoyed know-it-alls that focus on logic and scientific methodology. This is beyond abnormal. Log ends. Video 4, Dr. Clemens Ford, New Eden Alien Rehabilitation Center. Dr. Clemens recording. This cult is getting unusual and addiction rates are absolutely skyrocketing. A Vorodinus has been admitted after being released from a stay in the intensive care ward. Apparently, he was a rather severe allergic reaction to Substance C, specifically a type of carbohydrate it has. Unfortunately, he is very much addicted to Substance C, and has not only 3 separate overdose incidents, but also 12 separate incidents of allergic reaction. Video cuts to show several incidents where a Viridius, a giant wasp-like creature, is writhing in pain on the hospital bed, restrained by 8 people. He is revived from cardiac arrest no fewer than 8 times due to allergic reactions. When stable enough to be left alone, he attempts to make a nest out of the bedding and tries to chew his way out of the room by gnawing at the walls. This one is under continuous surveillance and won't be leaving anytime soon. He has gone into cardiac arrest 85 times since he arrived. Under normal circumstances, Substance C is harmless to non-humans if it has been properly sterilized and clean. Substance D is teeming with earth-based bacteria after all. It is what gives it the taste and texture. Sterilizing it with simple procedures doesn't really remove much of the taste. I don't know why so many are choosing baseline Substance C. I will have to ask for a formal investigation to be launched. This is getting out of hand. Video 5, Dr. Clemens Ford, New Eden Alien Rehabilitation C. Video shows Dr. Clemens in his office, covered in sweat, nursing a head wound. Help! For all of our sakes, help! This is an emergency broadcast to all known sectors. Patients have broken out in mass riot all across New Eden. I told those insufferable idiots not to hold the festival on New Eden, but they wouldn't listen. I am immediately calling for immediate cessation of all exports of Substance C to all non-human planets, and the permanent banning of all consumption of this product by non-humans. This is The video shows camera falling off the desk, sounds of a violent struggle followed by screams of a Taurian in babbling, psychotic rage. The human delegation stands in front of the council, showing the footage of New Eden Festival riots. Taurians, hurling stands from the shop several feet into the crowds, babbling wildly and salivating uncontrollably. Images of Laurentis offering people plates full of Substance C, then going crazy and inking them when they refuse, sometimes capturing people and force-feeding them. The video continues and shows the Olivarchus tying up a family of humans and force-feeding them Substance C, growing agitated and regressive when refused. Video continues showing more images of humans undergoing various forms of capture, torture, or derangement from the drug-crazed aliens before being mercilessly beaten back and restrained by military personnel. The human ambassador closes the video and stands there, giving everyone the "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed" look. Well, care to explain yourselves? The council just looks at the human sheepishly. Some avoid eye contact and distract themselves. Others nervously shuffle their seats. I thought so. Since it is obvious that you can't control yourselves, we have no other option, the human delegate said, presenting a piece of paper. No! Came the resounding response from all delegations. We, the Terran Federation, do ban the sale of Substance C, formerly known as cheese, to any non-humans. This is not negotiable, he said simply and turned away. The council began to wail in protest and break down in tears as they were denied one of the most delicious confections known to the galaxy: cheese. End of chapter. Story number 2. That is not what humans are for, by In Babylon They Wept. The ambassador asked me if I wanted a party favor. I was tempted, but human minds were notoriously resilient. What might bend their mind into an amusing shape for an hour or two could break mine altogether. I declined. The ambassador shrugged in a way that made it very clear that he considered it my loss, before dropping several spoonfuls of the substance into a specialized port in his exosuit. By default, the visor was dark enough one could barely make out the dark outline of the creature's bulbous skull. But as smoke started to trickle up into the dome, even that was lost. Where I should have seen an alien face, there was my own dim reflection, twisted by the curvature of the glass and the slow roil of smoke. "It is rare to receive guests," it said in my voice. As if stealing my face wasn't enough, it was an unsettling but common convention for humans to borrow the voice of whoever they were talking to. The generous view of this was that they enjoyed being mirrors. Personally, I'd always viewed them as a species afraid of being observed. It is hard to see the mirror underneath a reflection. "Do you want more?" I asked. I couldn't see its face, but I could tell that it was exhaling by the way vortices formed in the smoke. "Yes," it replied, "but I know my limits." It then carefully pushed the remaining pouch of powder towards the center of the table. The question of whether it had been talking about guests or of its recreation suddenly grew fuzzy. I decided to assume the best and plowed forward. "Our colony by our post batten, it's struggling," it finished. There was a glint of white inside the smoke, a hint of exposed wet bone. Weeks of study informed me that this was intended to set me at ease. "Yes. Bad neighbors?" The question was posed innocently enough, but it gave away the entire story. 20 years of guerrilla strikes, of blood and coin and lost life, all summed up in 2 words. A pathetically small conflict, and yet large enough that the humans knew of it. I did not answer. I stood still and watched my own face stare back. Humans loved games. I did not want to play. It matched me again, always the mirror. Coy when I was coy, serious when I was serious. "Any requests for how they are handled?" "No unnecessary bloodshed." It inhaled deep enough to clear the smoke from the dome. My reflection was interrupted, replaced by the form of the thing in the suit. The lines of the face were murky enough, but what shone brightest through the glass was its eyes. Perfect paper, white spheres, slick and shining. It seemed wrong for something to look so earnest and so hungry. "That is not what humans are for." I could not decide if it was agreeing to or denying my request. I looked into its eyes as long as I could still make them out through the haze drifting up through the neck slot. Only when they were well and truly gone did I take my glove off and reach across the table and gripped my hand, clenched it round it hard, and then let it go suddenly. I'd been told that this meant that the deal was sealed. I should have just left, but I always was curious, so I asked my final question. "Why us? Why not them?" "Because you came to me first," it replied, as if the answer was obvious, "and I was very bored." It showed me the door very soon after. I had the presence of mind to avoid running until I made it out of the building. End of story. I would like to thank the T5 peeps, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Bushmaster 177, Leslie 517, Red Panda 121, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Lightjock, Dragzoon WRE, Lord Azrakul, Severin Cerberus, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.